Co-op Mode. This is the official video game podcast of Secret Friends Unite. I'm Todd Oxford, joined by Mark the Canardian Carabin. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Good. So, folks, this is going to be a little bit out of order. You're going to get this episode before you get the one we previously recorded that will be going out in the 19th, which is kind of crazy. But there's a reason for that. We wanted to get the PlayStation event covered for you. Happened yesterday, and we're recording this morning. Will actually go out to everyone later today, which will be great. We don't really always get to be right on time to discuss things. Nice.
Yeah, the every 2 week schedule. A lot of time where we're picking and choosing behind the scenes. What to do, what to focus on, what to drop, what's unimportant. A lot of time it'll happen. We'll record on the weekend, and then Monday morning some big bombshell will drop. But by the time we record 2 weekends later, that bombshell is kind of a whimpering dust cloud at that point, and we kind of skip over things. So it's kind of nice while things are fresh in our minds to be able to discuss a big event. And since this is coming before the last episode, you'll hear all about like my baby story and bringing Finn home later. But this was also baby's first console reveal because I watched it with him kind of in my arms and chilling with me for the most part. I ended up pausing it and putting him to bed and stuff. But yeah, baby's first console reveal.
And it wasn't because he was bored. Let's put it this way. It was just long.
No, it was long. I did not get a chance to watch this live. I watched the start of it live and then had to teach an online course and get supper ready and all that, adult stuff that gets in the way of fun console reveals. So I did watch this later at night. And yeah, like I said, he watched the first part of it with me and then I kind of finished it. So yeah, fun though. Let's get right into it, I guess.
Yeah. I didn't get to watch live either. It was at 3 p.m. Central, so I was in the middle of work, so I couldn't get to it. Then as soon as I could, I put it on. This conference, it wasn't even a conference. You call it almost like a pre-recorded E3 presentation is exactly what this was. I would say it essentially was exactly what we would have probably seen anyways with Sony and everybody going digital these days. It was very professional. And it didn't seem like if you had shown this another year, you would have not have guessed this was a COVID constrained type of presentation. In my 2 cents.
Yeah, the only really thing that you could see, and I mean, like you said, in another year, this would have just felt like they reached out to a lot of developers. But when right before the console revealed, they did a lot of developers saying, welcome to PlayStation 5 or whatever, and giving their little like, we're excited, we can't wait, we're pumped and jazzed and yippee-ki-yay, whatever. So those things some of them were very obviously filmed with like a selfie camera kind of thing. Others looked a little bit better. You think, the person might have a little bit of a setup for video conferencing or podcasting or something like that. So they had some better gear. But like I said, that could have been in any other year them just reaching out to developers and developers sending in these videos, and it would have been at a place. But now you say, oh yeah, well, they can't really have these people on stage. They can't really have these people in a setting. They can't have big teams of development teams sitting in their offices and celebrating all together. So it has to be this big montage video wall, Zoom call looking thing of people with their selfie cams or whatever. So that was the only thing that stood out to me. Otherwise, this was very professional Nintendo Direct-esque. It was, I thought it was well done overall.
Yeah,
we'll get
very
into
cool. Yeah, I mean, it's kind of neat. Launched, it was live streaming 1080p. So a lot of folks, if you do want to see it, I guess I would say at that resolution, you'll expect to see it as you play your console in the future. On YouTube, there are 4K drops. So check it out there. It's all re-recorded. They're actually split up into all the trailers, so you don't have to watch the whole thing through. But if you want, but you can watch. And that's what I was doing on my TV. My TV has YouTube built in, 4K. was playing it, so it looked pretty on a 65-inch TV. So do that, folks, before you say everything looked bad. Well, I'm like 1080p streaming, you're gonna have drops and things like that. It's just not ideal. But yeah, so this was probably one of the leanest presentations I've ever seen Sony do. Essentially, very little fat out there. People spoke very limited. It was just rapid fire games. The focus was on PS5 exclusives, games that will only be coming to the platform. Although with some caveats, there are some games that will be coming cross-gen, cross-play between PS4 as well, from what I saw. So, but all of the PlayStation exclusives will be PS5 only. So, you know, I really thought it was interesting. So we're just going to go, we'll talk about the hardware first. So that was the thing. Nobody knew if we were going to actually get to see that. We knew we were going to get games that were going to be on PlayStation 5 with gameplay. But Mark, what is your reaction to the system?
I thought it was a pretty ballsy reveal. Literally, they started with just a bunch of balls like swishing around. So you like, and they had these weird little transitions, whether it was balls or shapes or this or that through the whole presentation. But this one went on a little longer, and I started to think like, oh no, we're going to see the console. And judging by the balls, I guessed while it was leading up in those couple of seconds, I started to guess this is probably going to be very smooth. I'm guessing it's going to be some, you know, rounded edges and that sort of thing, and it ended up being right. I think the console itself looks pretty good. Kind of reminds me of an Xbox 360 taking its clothes off.
The inhale version, the hourglass.
Yeah, right? Like it's got that little hourglass shape, same as the 360, but like I said, it's taking its clothes off, so it's kind of peeling back the layers, and you see that that black inside there.
Getting very sexy. I was gonna say maybe like Superman, Mark. I don't know. You go sexy, I'll go Superman.
It's hard not to go sexy when I'm looking at you, Todd.
Well, you know, I try to hold back. I'm wearing my. Oh, by the way, I'm wearing my Dadalorian shirt. I don't know if you.
Nice. That's awesome.
They've got it for me. So delayed birthday present, but
fantastic.
But anyways,
yeah. Anyway, back to the console. I think it looks futuristic. It looks like a router. But and you know, router designs are starting to look a little less boxy and more sleek and cool looking. I think it's a good design. I mean, you can't really complain. You know, do you want the Wi-Fi router or do you want the mini fridge? What console are you going to go with? So it's fine. I think it's good looking.
Yeah.
I was going to say I was confused if it could lay sideways at first. Now I have seen pictures now, but like during the presentation, it just like because of it's so angular and there doesn't seem to be any foot pads or anything on it. I'm wondering, one, is it optimized to lay on its side? And two, is that going to hurt airflow with no foot pads, or should you buy foot pads or that kind of thing? I'm wondering what the third party market's going to be like for that. And this is a tall sucker. Have you seen the comparisons?
I did. And, you know, even the Series X is too tall to stand in my basically my media area where my TV is. Yeah, me too. Because I've only got like 9 inches between the shelves, and I think that the Series X is whatever height. But even if I try to cram it in there, I don't think it would fit. And if I did try to cram it in there, it did fit. There'd be no airflow. It'd be like, you're squeezed in there. The Series X is going to have to be sideways. This is going to have to be sideways for me. Yeah. I haven't had a console that's fit like horizontally in years.
mine is
vertically. Sorry.
Almost exactly the height of a Wii with a GameCube Wavebird receiver plugged into the GameCube port at the top of the Wii. That's what can fit in my entertainment system. There's like a tiny little air gap in the top of it, but I know that because it's sitting in my entertainment system right now. I could fit the Wii U as well. That in that orientation, but any taller than that, I'm the same with you. So I'm wondering for these consoles, will I have to look at some sort of stand? Will I maybe move my TV forward and stick the console in behind it? Because mostly I'm kind of all digital. I very rarely touch my Xbox One X right now. Yeah. Same with my Switch, unless I'm taking it out of the dock. I turn it on using a controller. I turn it off using a controller. It's very seldom that I actually go physically touch a system. So, so that being said, what are your thoughts?
Well, I thought it was really unique because this is the first system to launch with essentially going all digital. Because Xbox did it with the SAD edition. We saw that. PlayStation is getting this. You get the fat bottom girl version, which is the disc drive. It just stands out there. But the discless version looks more symmetrical, looks prettier, I would say. And it's really tempting me to go all digital this gen. I don't have a lot of PlayStation 4 physical games anymore. And at this point, I don't think I'm going to. Unless I stick with GameFly and I need discs. So I'm gonna have to see where it goes. But that was a surprise. It does look like somebody mentioned it looked like the Avengers suits from Endgame.
Oh yeah.
To a certain extent. It's definitely striking. A lot of people say it's the ugliest console they've ever seen. And then at one point, I'm like, oh, by the way, have you seen these? And I showed some old stuff in the past that were ugly as well. I don't know if anybody really liked the GameCube when it first came out. I think people came to love it in this little adorable lunchbox fashion.
I was just going to say there's no consoles right now that include a handle. So anyone that wants to talk smack about a GameCube, come at me, bro. Handles.
Portable gaming. It was really portable console gaming. It's best.
100%. Yeah. I think you could stick a handle on the Series X.
You probably could, like a little lunchbox. Exactly. So overall, I no one ever thinks about how the system looks when you're playing the game because you're looking at the TV. So I think if people are going to judge the success on how it looks, I don't think a console has ever failed, except maybe the original Xbox looked like was big too. I want to see how big the original Xbox is for this, because that was considered a behemoth, and they said, well, Japan never wants a big system. So if Japan doesn't like big systems,
this could. It looks like it's towering over the Series X. Series X obviously is boxier, but looks from the comparison I saw, and they stood all the consoles on their side. If you're wondering how big the Series X is, turn an Xbox One X on its side. That's basically it. So that to me was very like, oh, I know exactly the size of the Xbox Series X. And the PlayStation 5 being even taller than that is, definitely daunting if you have a small space or you're trying to, figure out, again, proper airflow, make sure these things have lots of room. We don't want whatever the PlayStation 5 equivalent of Red Ring of Death is. So, it's going to be one of those things to take into consideration for sure. But overall, I agree. I think the system's not the ugliest thing I've ever seen. It's, it's fine.
Yeah. We didn't, they showed the DualSense again. We've never seen the underside of the DualSense. So I'm like, is that like a one more thing they're going to eventually come out with, just a little bit more excitement? But at this point, no, but they did show more accessories, a new headset, which looks really cool, the Pulse, a charging dock, and then a new camera, which apparently has 2 dual HD cameras in it, and then a charging dock for 2 DualSense controllers. Because the battery, this one has an internal battery versus the Xbox Series X standard controller will still have replaceable batteries.
Yeah.
So that's it for the hardware. Like I said, now they did show a vertical stand for the system, which I don't know why the regular one would need a vertical stand, but the fat bottom one, because it's heavier at the bottom. But I've heard that to go sideways, it may need a little thing to make it level.
Yeah, that's what I was confused about. It looks just weird. I don't know, like what part of it. Yeah, it doesn't look like it's going to be level. It looks strange. So I'm very curious to see what the solution is for that, because I think a lot of people are going to be in our situation where this is just not going to fit somewhere that's easy. Like I don't know. It's I think it's going to cause a lot of people to rethink how their entertainment systems are set up and look at the orientations of things. You mentioned the headphones. I want to ask your opinion on this. I asked my brother yesterday, and he didn't really give me a solid answer. So I'll put you on the spot. 3D audio, they're pushing that. They're really making it a thing. I'm guessing these headphones are going to be rather expensive. I love my PlayStation Golds right up until they died, and they just literally will not charge anymore. I think I have to get a replacement battery. They're just completely dead. I can plug them in. They'll turn on for a second. As soon as I unplug them, gone. But until that moment where they died, I loved my Sony Golds. What is your thought on 3D audio? They even said if you can watch this presentation with headphones on, that's the way to do it. So they're really pushing audio. Do you think that's going to be a differentiator for most people, or do you think people will say, I'm going to buy whatever headset or use whatever headset I currently have? 3D audio is maybe not as bad, but kind of the new TV for Xbox One, right? Where it's like, they keep pushing it, but it's kind of just a flash in the pan. And some people, yeah, sure, will spend the few $100s on a 3D headphones. But do you think most people will kind of catch on and really think of that as a feature that should be marketed?
I'd say yes, because with gaming's already immersive. You're in there. And audio is kind of that last bastion where I think it's, even if it has impressive audio design and engineering, if you're playing it on a TV, potentially just with stereo speakers, you've got no positional idea of where, except something's left or right. And a lot of people have said, when I'm wearing headphones, it improves my ability to track and do different things. And just like in a theater, when you've got Atmos and things like that all around you, it's just one step more in the immersive, I guess, layers they want to build. So I think it's cool. Now, what I'm hoping is, even with a standard set of headphones, if you plug it in your controller, you'll still get something. You'll still get something that's cool versus requiring you to get a ridiculously expensive set of headphones. The $100 to $300 amount. A lot of them do virtual surround sound through USB. So I'm not sure, but I think it could be really cool because I found what I found a lot more gamers are going headsets only anyways. Yeah. So if you can just, like I said, if you get even just a little bit better 3D audio or something that maybe it's pseudo 3D audio if you use non-3D and you get that, I think that's pretty cool. I think it's one of those things, unless you see it, unless you listen to it and experiencing it, it's just probably like VR. People won't know. And they're like, it doesn't matter to me. It's just sound. But yeah, I think it's cool. I like it. With gaming at this point, there's just only so much more you can do from a visual standpoint. So where else can they go? They can go, and then feedback. They've already gone. I think they're going as far as they can with feedback. Now it's audio, I guess. So I'm down with it.
Okay, cool. Yeah, and not to speak ill about 3D audio, I think like VR, I kind of agree with you there. Like VR, the tech is very cool. But I'm wondering how they'll sell it to people, especially with more expensive headsets. I am hoping that they have some sort of fake 3D audio or something like that it can kind of give the headphones I'm wearing right now to record are the headphones that I use on my Xbox. They're not super expensive. They're not super fancy. But when I'm playing Fortnite especially or something like that, where you need to hear the person who's sneaking up behind you or, someone's above you or whatever, they can kind of fake that 3D audio. I do know where people are, and it definitely helps. So I think it's important. I'm just wondering how they're going to sell it. And if, like you said, hopefully other headsets will be able to fake it. And then if you get that taste of it and want the next step, maybe that's how they sell it, right? They say, you think this is good, check out the real deal.
Yeah, and curious to see that. And if they can license the technology, if it's in the box itself or in the controller that outputs it, and the headphones are, basically they license the technology, whatever is needed, if it's needed for the headset, and it can get third-party options available as well that are affordable. Maybe Astro will option it in their next-gen headsets or something like that. But yeah, I think it's cool. And you know what? Headset manufacturers want to sell new things. They don't want they don't want you owning the same set. They want to say this has this feature and this feature. Wired or wireless. I rarely use my Golds wireless for some reason. I just plug them in. So not sure why. I mean, I probably should because it does have cool stuff going on, but oh well. Right. So that's the hardware. We did not get a price. We did not get a launch date. We just know holiday 2020. So more to come. They want us to continue to be excited for more news, just like Xbox will. It's going to be a dogfight at this point. Or I guess, what is it? Playing chicken to see who goes first?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Yeah, but the real purpose of this was, and everybody pretty much got out of the way except maybe a few devs to talk about their games, but it was all about the games. So, Mark, let's do onesie twosie. So I've got the list up. It's the Eurogamer list, if you want to go to that.
Okay.
And then we'll just go through these games very quickly, and then we'll come back and say what our highlights were.
Sounds good.
So I will kick it off. They came strong. The first thing they showed, well, first thing they showed was GTA 5, but I will talk about that later, was Spider-Man Miles Morales. This is going to be from what I understand, it's going to be an expansion, not a sequel.
That is absolutely correct.
Yep.
They've confirmed that today. And they've confirmed that with something that kind of bugged me, hit me the wrong way, which is, it sounds, from some of the wording I've read, it sounds like this is going to be an expansion that's part of a remaster. So Sony is already, if the rumors are true, and if what I've read is true, it seems like, and again, the wording is vague, so who knows? Maybe tomorrow this will come out and it'll say, no, there's kind of, if you already own PlayStation 4 Spider-Man, it's going to work on PlayStation 5 or something. There's a standalone expansion or whatever. But some of the wording made it sound like this is a remaster. You are going to be buying Spider-Man again for PlayStation 5. So it's very instantly stark contrast to everything Xbox is doing. And they finished the show with wording that makes me believe that that's true. So we'll talk about that in a bit. But yes, I was excited about this Miles Morales Spider-Man. So
now I would say I will take a different approach. But what they say is now you can go back into the game. Oh no, I'm going to change that. I will just hold off on that because I don't know yet. I haven't been able to react to that. So let's go on. Yep. All right. So we'll go on.
So next in the list, Gran Turismo 7 looks pretty great. Supports haptic feedback, 3D audio. This is going to be their technological showcase, I feel, for all of the fun features. Racing games, especially for those haptic triggers, you're going to get, the feeling of speed in those triggers, and locking a brake, or maybe some shaking when you're pressing that brake down or something like that. I think this is going to be pretty cool.
Yeah, driving games are pretty.
Yes.
Just not for me. I suck at anything that isn't no brakes racing. That's what I require.
Yes. Yeah. No, I'm pretty much the same.
Yeah, and this was kind of out of order, but Horizon Forbidden West. They got rid of Zero Dawn, apparently was the name of the first game. Mm-hmm. Horizon is the actual name of the series. Forbidden West is there. Looks beautiful. The last one came out in 2017, so they've had plenty of time to make this game look beautiful. That was one of the most beautiful games on PlayStation. The fact that it's coming out now with all the extra bells and whistles, that's pretty awesome.
Mm-hmm. Another pretty awesome game and very pretty game, Ratchet and Clank Rift Apart. I'm going to talk about this a little bit later in stuff that I love, so we'll come back to it, but looks awesome.
Yes. Demon Souls. This is going to be a remake of the PS3 game. Blue Point has done most of their remasters. I believe they did the Shadow of Colossus remaster. But actually they call it a remake because basically they're building it from the ground up. Apparently, if people have looked back at Demon Souls from the past and saw videos of it, it's kind of aged poorly is the best way to put it. And so, yeah, this is great. People are going to be so excited that, Bloodborne has a rabid following, and the fact that you're getting this game that a lot of people probably never played, that's going to be pretty exciting for those folks.
Absolutely. It looks great. And that's the one Shuhei Yoshida introduced, isn't it? Is
yes,
it not?
Yes, he said he was very excited. I'm like, what game is he going to be excited for?
Yeah, when he said that, I was like, okay, I'd pretty much take a bullet for that man. He's delightful. So anything he's introducing, I'm interested in. Next up, Project Athia. I'm guessing Athia. That's Square Enix and Luminous Productions. Team behind Final Fantasy 15. I want to say 15. Designed exclusively for PS5, so it doesn't sound like that's going to be possibly coming anywhere else.
I believe this one. I've heard this one was written actually by Gary Whitta, who did the screenplay for Rogue One, Book of Eli, and he also does the Animal Crossing talk show.
Interesting. Okay.
Yes. Cool. Returnal. This is from Housemarque. This is the first game for Housemarque that is not like a twin stick shooter.
Right.
Looks very interesting. They're not a person studio, but they pretty much have always made PlayStation games.
Mm-hmm.
So this one looks really interesting. I don't know much about it, but it's once again another exclusive.
I'll leave that for later. Sackboy: A Big Adventure is up next. Little Big Planet 3 studio, Sumo Digital. It's a 3D platformer, so I'm kind of wondering how this is going to be received. Little Big Planet has always been about that creativity and about making it your own and making these crazy wild designs and intricate machinery and all that kind of stuff. And I'm wondering if it's going to be a Minecraft dungeon where it's great, it's delightful, but at the same time, there's no mining, there's no crafting. So how's it Minecraft? I'm wondering if this is the same kind of thing. Will it lose a little bit of that luster, or is Sackboy and his big adventure enough to make this interesting? We'll see.
My only hope for this game is it actually feels like a real game versus Little Big Planet felt like it was more of an experiment. The controls were never great. It was never the best platformer. So I'm hoping to just say people like Sackboy, and this could be a really good platformer with great controls and things like that. So
yeah.
But once again, this is what I liked about PlayStation. No, actually, I'll go at the end and talk about that. We'll talk about our recap and our scores, and we'll talk about that. So before I jump ahead, sorry guys, I got a little excited there. Then Astro's Playroom. Playroom was on the PlayStation 4. It was basically kind of like a little demo of games that you could do to show you how the PlayStation camera worked. It basically worked with the DualShock 4 with the camera and using different things. This is exactly what this is. So this is actually going to come with the PlayStation 5. So a pack-in experience showing all of the things you can do with the DualSense controller and all the different things in the PlayStation 5.
Right. That's Astrobot is that PSVR Astrobot, right? That's
yes. I didn't get the two together that they're actually linked. But yes, this is same character from Astrobot. Yep.
Yeah. He's delightfully cute. So that's even as a little tech demo pack-in, I think that's a great way to do it. Yeah, super cute. Destruction All-Stars. What if you did Rocket League without the ball? We'll find out. Sure.
I was so confused by this one, Mark. I'm like, are the people really supposed to be outside of those cars? Are they supposed to be stealing cars?
It's a weird looking kind of thing, but it kind of had me interested. So we'll see how that shakes out.
It's like Destruction Derby too, because I mean we're seeing cars shaved in half, and I'm like, that looks pretty cool. So PlayStation has lacked something like that since the old days of Destruction Derby and what was the other Twisted Metal.
Yeah.
But this is happier,
big Twisted Metal
funky
kind of thing,
and weird and great. Yes. Godfall. This is a game. This was actually the first PS5 game shown back at the Game Awards. But this one is, I'd say it's Souls-like, kind of, maybe, where it's melee and difficult combat. But it's definitely a melee fighter. It looked pretty. I don't know much about it though. I guess it's
kind of reminded me of like Darksiders looking kind of thing. Maybe more than the Souls combat games. Stylish, very with some Destiny influence, where they said lots of crazy cool weapons and stuff that you can collect. So I was confused with the trailer because it was like very like edgy hip hop kind of soundtrack, but like I don't know, high fantasy setting kind of thing, and it was like it kind of seemed like it was a little all over the place versus the first trailer that we saw. So I'm wondering what the overall marketing feel is for this game, or what they're trying for here. But yeah, looks neat. I think it's going to be that to me feels like a AA game, kind of like the Darksiders games. Like they're never fantastic, but they're always good. So that instantly strikes me as that it's a launch game.
Yeah, this is the first game that is going to be debuting first on PS5, but then we'll go to other consoles as well. Then we get into so those are basically the big exclusives from first party or that don't develop for other systems. These other games are going to be by third parties, and the where they will be exclusive to will have to be explained a little bit. But one of the biggest things that just blew me away, and I must have been the only one that wasn't aware that they were doing this. Resident Evil Village, where it showed the village first, and then when they brought together the VIL turned into 8.
Yep.
Wow, this feels like Resident Evil 4, like the sequel.
Yeah. No, that was a badass reveal trailer for sure.
Wow.
Pragmata. Weird trailer. Looks very Death Stranding-esque as far as like how weird it looks. A new game coming from Capcom. So, yeah, we'll see more on that. They didn't really give a lot away in that trailer.
That could have been a Kojima game, to tell you the truth.
It really could have been. That's what I meant by like Death Stranding.
That weird cat.
It looked so weird. Yeah, the cat, the girl, the spaceman
the
dude
ball
with
thing
the
he used
gadgets
to get up.
and he's like Batman plus the Green Lantern in space or some shit. It was weird.
Very weird. Yeah,
I'm into it though.
I think that one's multi-platform. Deathloop. We saw a trailer for this a long time ago, but the new trailer. Wow, I was this is so cool. It's basically what's that movie? Kill, Die, Repeat. Tom Cruise movie.
Something like that.
They had a different name, Edge of Tomorrow or something.
Yes, yeah.
Yeah, but same thing. Where basically you're an assassin, you're trying to go through this level, you die, you repeat it, but then you have another assassin who's trying to kill you. It looks the stylish action. This looks pretty awesome. Apparently, it is coming to PS5 as an exclusive. I've read it different ways, but PS5 first, then coming to PC. But I believe it's exclusive as a console game.
Okay. Yeah, timed exclusive. So maybe you might see that hit Xbox eventually. Who knows?
Yeah,
but
it's so weird.
The timed exclusive is always such a weird little thing. It's strange. Ghostwire Tokyo. This was shown off at E3 2019. Bethesda's conference there.
They didn't show any gameplay though. I think when they had the trailer, almost more like a cinematic.
So. Yeah. So looks cool. Again, this is one of those PC and console exclusive on PS5. So sounds like this one's more console exclusive, not timed exclusive. So those two wordings make me think Ghostwire Tokyo is only on PlayStation 5 or PC.
Yeah, the buzzword I would say that I would come up with, it's a first-person kung fu supernatural game, because the moves you were doing with your hand looked like something from a martial arts film. Yeah,
it was pretty badass.
Wow, this next game just made me laugh when I saw the trailer for it. Little Devil Inside. This game is actually coming to PS4 as well. It'll all be on PS5, but essentially it's an semi-open world game where it looks like you are essentially a creature hunter, and you bring back your gear to your boss, and your boss lives a privileged life. And I love the toilet humor.
I was just going to say, and the only trailer I believe that included someone having a little poop. NBA 2K21, or as I like to call it, Sweat Simulator 2K. This is, the graphics looked intense and amazing. We saw an epic dunk, but lots of sweat. So NBA fans,
why wasn't there any gameplay? Why wasn't there any gameplay? That was dumb.
It was.
It was like, what? Show us what the game looks like.
I know,
it's
right?
Basketball.
Like
it's basketball. Show us some gameplay.
They focus so much on the sweatiness. It was like, I don't care. Like, does anyone really play basketball games right now and be like, man, this is a great game? You see that dunk? Yeah, but like, I could use more sweat. Exactly. I wish these players were moist.
The sweat?
Yeah. I want some moist basketball players.
Yes.
Yeah, just that's exactly what I was thinking when I was playing NBA Jam back in the day. I was like, boom shakalaka, but this could use a little moistness.
Yes, please.
We just lost like 15 subscribers because I said moist so many times. So I'll stop. Move on.
Yes. We're gonna heat up this place and get rid of the moisture. Solar Ash. This is essentially a kind of in the same universe as Hyper Light Drifter. Look cool, and it's going to be on other platforms as well, from what I understand.
Looks great. Bug Snacks. Ooh, so weird. So weird. Octodad developer, Young Horses. As soon as I say Octodad, you know how weird this is going to be. It's an island where the inhabitants are half bugs, half snacks. And it looks like
and you
when
become
you eat,
the snacks when
you
eat
eat the
them.
bugs. Yeah, you become the snacks.
But apparently the bugs
It's
can join together and turn into like a weird snack monster.
yeah. Why not? Man, yeah. This is coming to PS4, PS5, and PC. I'm imagining this is one of those things that we will see on other platforms as well.
Yeah, very, very cool. This game really surprised me. First time I'd ever heard of it. Developed by two brothers from Ember Lab. Kina, Bridge of Spirits. It just looks like a beautiful, like, I don't even know what to compare it to. It's just like an action platformer, exploring, and this girl has these special abilities and has all these little creatures that come with her. But it looks cool.
It looks amazing. It looks amazing. That's I'll get to that later. Goodbye Volcano High, Dinosaur High School,
Emo
animated
dinosaur
kind of emo. Yeah,
with weird hair.
Yep. If that's your thing, cool. This trailer didn't do a ton for me,
No
but
gameplay unless it's like a adventure game where you're just going in and getting emo and talking to your friends.
Yeah, possibly. So let's we'll move on from that one, I guess.
Yeah, Oddworld, Soulstorm. Somebody mentioned this looked like a Lemmings game once again. I think that's always been a part of Oddworld, and there's Oddworld. I guess somebody likes the games because they keep making them, but I saw nothing in this that looked really interesting. But yeah, you're one of these emoticons that has to free his people. Yep. There you go.
Yep. Stray, again, no real gameplay, I think, just a trailer with some I don't know, post-apocalyptic technological looking city thing, and then a cat with a backpack. So there you go. Cat Simulator
it's a cat driven adventure game.
Yep.
Why not?
Who doesn't love cats?
Then you get Jet the Far Shore coming to PS4, PS5 from the Super Brothers team, which, do you ever play Super Brothers Sword and Sorcery on your iPhone? Same team as that. They're teaming up with Pine Scented. Nice name. And it's apparently you're leaving the Earth and you are exploring in a jet. So you're going to be doing all your movement through a jet and exploring that way. So kind of reminded me of No Man's Sky, but less about
less exploration, trading. More jet. Yeah, that's fine. Very cool trailer, Hitman 3. If you're a fan of the Hitman series, this looks like it's going to be more of the same, but a little bit, more story driven maybe. Looks good. They said it's his most intimate and professional contract. So whatever that means, it's the conclusion of the World of Assassination trilogy. So that's coming to everything. That's going PS4, PS5, Xbox One, Series X, and PC in 2021. So
yeah, I think that wraps it up for the majority of the games we saw. The rest of this list is for games that are coming but weren't shown at the show, unless we missed some. I can look at the other list really quick.
I don't think so. I'm scrolling down through this list. If we missed something, I don't think it's going to be standout stuff. We will, like you said, talk about GTA. But the rest of the stuff, it doesn't look like there's anything that we really missed.
All right, folks. Well, there you go. And we've been hearing more and more about what games will be coming to next gen. We heard Destiny is going to be coming, if you own it on PS4, it'll be coming to PS5, Xbox Series X with 4K, 60 frames per second. So we are going to hear more and more about how games evolve and get onto those systems, but we'll talk about that later. But yeah, so Mark, we went through the list. What would you say were your highlights?
A few highlights for me. Let's might as well go through our whole lists and kind of compare and contrast rather than do one. I have a few. So Spider-Man, Miles Morales. I was much more excited when I thought this was a full sequel. Now that I know it's a shorter standalone experience, and I'm very confused about, is this a remaster? Will I have to buy it again? Is it coming to PS4? Is it, standalone? Whatever it is. There's some questions, but I still think it looks badass, and I love Miles Morales as a character, so I'm still hyped for that one, but a little less today than I was last night when I was watching and making this list. Ratchet and Clank is one of the first things that I've seen that truly looks next gen. Those portal rifts where they were just jumping through and going from place to place and thing with a no loading time kind of thing. super fast transitions. I thought that was awesome. And it's a great series anyway. So I thought that was really cool. Kena, we've been saying this since GameCube and that generation of, oh man, it looks like Toy Story. It looks like DreamWorks. It looks like Pixar. This one legitimately did. And I was excited for it. It looks delightful. It looks like a DreamWorks movie that you get to play through. And it looks really, really neat. Like you said, it's kind of this fantasy setting. You get cute little animals following you around. And just everything about this trailer I really thought was cool. Horizon 2 looked badass as hell. Absolutely beautiful. That trailer got me super hyped. And finally, the Resident Evil 8 surprise reveal. You were not alone in that one. When they did the VIII, I was like, oh man, here we go. Let's do it. And was it Chris coming in at the end or something? That was actually, if you want a timeline, that was right around when Finn started to get a little fussy, and I paused it and took him upstairs. So he was kind of fussing through that trailer. So I need to go back and watch that one again today. Yeah. But just the quickness of that, I was like, oh man, yeah, this is looking really cool. And yeah, super like Resident Evil 4 kind of vibes from it. So I was pumped about that. So I'll leave it to those 5 things for now. What about you?
Wow, we're going to have a lot of repeats. So I will say I echo every game you mentioned. Right. The only thing I want to say about the Miles Morales thing, I'm hoping what they do with that, it's more like the Uncharted Lost Legacy, which was a standalone game and was a complete game. It just was not, and it was like sold at $40. So I'm hoping maybe that's more of this. Okay. Because I think they don't want to piss off a lot of people. So rebuying Spider-Man, unless it's like it's free anyways. Right. But still, if you own PS4 Spider-Man, I'm hoping, and they said their top games will be coming anyways. So so maybe it's a scenario if you whatever. Enough of that.
Yeah. We'll see.
But yeah, I mean, every game you mentioned were highlights to me, but one of the ones I just wanted to point out, Project Athia, when I saw that, I'm like, what the hell is this? And those are the type of experiences I want. I don't know what this thing is, but it looks ridiculously awesome, and I am down. And when I heard Gary Whitta's writing it, I'm like, I love story. He knows how to write great stories. So I'm like, yes, please. I mean, and essentially this looked like a bunch of like dragons and other mythical creatures, but they looked like they're almost like decomposing, or they had like some weird energy effect coming off them. So I don't really know what that means, but maybe there's like something hurting the environment. But yeah, I mean, that game really stood out to me. Let's see. Another game that stood out to me that I just like, I don't know what to expect. But Deathloop, it's not, I mean, it's just that gameplay. Just anytime a console transition happens, I want to see things I haven't seen before. I want to see movement. I want to see action that just wasn't possible, or people weren't able to do it in a way that made sense. This game looks just so cool. I like the aesthetic. It's definitely a different world, and it's by the team who made Dishonored. So you can see a little bit of that Dishonored like beaming across. That looks very cool. Tokyo Ghostwire. I don't know why, but seeing that Kung Fu combat and doing those martial arts, it kind of reminded me of Big Trouble in Little China for some reason. But I just love that supernatural with martial arts. Yep. And it's going to look beautiful. But yeah, I can't wait for that game as well. And then lastly, Little Devil Inside. The humor of that game just made me smile. And just when the way that's one of the best trailers I've seen in a long time, the way it cut and did the things it did. I like the fact I like the combat that it's going to use. It looks like it's very fun, because the first time I thought, is this just going to be like more of an adventure game? But nope, there's action, things like that. It almost looks like Monster Hunter Jr.
Monster Hunter plus Moonlighter.
Exactly. Yeah. So I'm really that. So that would probably be my top 3 games that we haven't already mentioned, because it was a really interesting mix of games. I mean, there was something for everybody, which you don't always get. And I think it's been a problem with Sony in the past that they've been too dark or too gritty. I think Xbox kind of got nailed with that in their last event, that everything seemed dark and post-apocalyptic, and where's the color, where's the beauty? So I'm glad we're seeing that. So yeah, those are my top picks as well. So, Mark, we mentioned, first I said there won't be any knack comments, but then I commented and said, okay, we're going to say the thing we felt stumbled the most, or thing that was most disappointing would be the knack moment. So what was your knack moment?
I think you're going to hate me for this because you kind of got hyped about this game, but Returnal did nothing for me. I thought the name kind of didn't do anything for me. I don't know, the trailer, there was something about it that there were so many things before it and after it that screamed next gen, that screamed just something that the gameplay, nothing about this screamed like it had to be on PlayStation 5 to me. And I did find that with several of the games. We mentioned, some of the Oddworld and stuff like that. There were a lot of games that not only seemed like they could run on PlayStation 4, but some of the games seemed like they could probably run on Switch. So I think they're suffering from the same thing that the Xbox one did before, and that I think this generation is going to suffer from in general, is when you're watching a 1080p stream, and it's a stream, so it could stutter, it could do this, it could do that. It's not that wow factor. That is, why is this a PlayStation 5 exclusive? Why do I have to buy a new $500-$600 box to play this game that looks like it could run on my Switch or something, right? Like there were a few games that ran into that problem for me, but anyway, aside from that, it was good. So they're not a huge knack moment, but those little things with the wording of like, we want to focus on all of these need to be on PlayStation 5. It's like, well, shut up. Why?
Exactly.
So, yeah.
Exactly.
What about you?
This is a hard transition because if this current generation didn't go to 4K, I think it would be a bigger leap than it is currently. But at this point, it's really going to just be the ray tracing and the frame rates and the fast load times, which quite honestly, nothing either console holder has shown has really said this is what it looks like without. I mean, I think we've seen the Minecraft at most with the ray tracing, and then Sony showed, hey, here's what Spider-Man looks like with load times, an event they still never shown. So until they start showing these things to us, nobody's going to say that doesn't look. I mean, I think everybody's going to say the game looks like that. I think we're going to see a lot of games that will still look like this gen because you can only do so much with resolution, but it's those textures and load times and all those things that they still need to do. But for me, the games that I saw, I thought were perfectly fine. It was the dumbass Grand Theft Auto thing. I'm like, that was a horrible way to start the conference. I know they want people to feel like, yes, our games will be there, but to me, it had more questions. They didn't answer the question, if I own GTA 5, do I have to buy it again on PlayStation 5? They said it's not launching until 2021. So is that a scenario where GTA will not be doing any improvements or enhancements until 2021?
Right. And for me, when you look at like PlayStation 2 or PlayStation, like whatever, you got the GTA trilogy on there. So like San Andreas and all that kind of stuff, Vice City, whatever. And now we're kind of stuck the last 3 generations. If you look at a trilogy there, it's Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS3, Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS4. And guess what? Grand Theft Auto 5 for PS5. It's like, I don't know. I kind of agree. That was a weird way to start it off. Like, cool, we're getting a PlayStation 3 game. Thanks. I don't know. Yeah. Weird way to start off a powerful showcase. I definitely agree with you there.
Yeah, so that was just dumb. I just felt like it was just well out of place, and it didn't need to be there. And it was, that could have just been a separate state of play announcement maybe in the future. But I guess having the biggest game in the world with you on stage gives you some credence. So who knows?
And it could have been a better moment on a stage. I think they could have hyped it up on stage and brought out a developer, brought out this or brought out that and say, we want you to keep going. We want this, or a better explanation. Like you said, it was just kind of like, well, here's like $1 million in-game dollars or some shit like that. And it's, here's a PlayStation 3 game that, congratulations. I don't know. Whatever. Yeah.
Tell us what will make Grand Theft Auto better on PlayStation 5 or something.
Yeah, why am I spending $500 or $600 or whatever this console costs to play a game that I've literally had for 2 freaking generations already? That's not a way to start off a powerhouse presentation in my opinion, for sure.
Nope.
Yeah. So overall.
Yes, overall score. So Mark, you said you were going to dazzle me with a score system.
Yes. So, like we said, I think this is a good presentation overall. The finishing line of "We believe in generational transitions." I think that was kind of a misstep for me and kind of soured it. Like I said, yes, I want my games to take advantage of new hardware. But we're going from like 4K to 4K in this generation. So show off some things like we've said before, show off some things that convince me why I need to buy this. And I don't think Xbox or PlayStation have done a good job on this. I don't think either of them have really succeeded on this messaging. So I think Xbox's messaging with smart delivery is a little stronger at this point than possibly having to rebuy Spider-Man, the weird stuff with GTA. But I still enjoyed this presentation. Weirdly enough, because people won't know this story, they're going to be confused by this, but tune in Tuesday. I'm giving this 4 out of 6 contraband chicken nuggets.
Excellent. Yes. So 4 out of how many? I guess
6. It's a 6-piece chicken nuggets.
So you're using a 6-piece chicken nugget. Okay, very good. So I will give this.
Feel free to use the chicken nuggets if you'd like.
I'll use chicken nuggets as well, Mark. Why not? I'll say 5 out of 6 chicken nuggets, because I think they set the expectations as they were meant to be. Talking about the games, they threw in the hardware as a bonus. They limited the typically the Sony diarrhea of the mouth quite a bit, which was neat. And we focused on what was important. What I didn't like was what they didn't say, which was once again stance on backwards compatibility, ability to show the difference in what makes this hardware special, like you said. So I will say 5 out of 6 because what they did show. I can get mad for what they didn't do. That's right. It's more of on me than expectation. So from what they show, yes. And I'd say 5 out of 6 because I just, to your point, did not see anything really that said this could never be done on this hardware.
Yeah.
So, although if it tried it on PS4 Pro, it might break it because it's wheezing and dying.
Right. And I'm sure, there's stuff going on in these games that is faster load times and this and that, and it's going to be a PlayStation 5 hardware advantage. But so far there, and like I said, like Ratchet and Clank showed me that for the first time. I think it was something really spectacular that I was like, ooh, I don't think current hardware could handle those really quick rifts like they were doing. But yeah, overall, I think this was a good presentation. I think I could see where it would land on 5. I think that the messaging for me, like I said, of that like transitional hardware kind of thing, it sounds like PlayStation fans get ready to buy some remasters is what that screamed to me, and that's why I took away a chicken nugget.
And what I'm hopeful for with Xbox, they are going to show in July their first party games. If they were smart, and I don't know if they really want to do this, but they will show this is what the game looks like on Xbox One S. This is what the game looks like on Xbox One X. Or just do Xbox One X, whatever. This is why you want to buy it on Series X, because Halo will be at 120 frames per second, whatever. That makes a difference. I
think that, but I go a step beyond. Here's this game loading on Xbox. Yes. Here's from the home screen getting into a game. Show it loading on the Series S or the Xbox One S, the Xbox One X, and the Series X, and basically time it at the same time when you start up that console or whatever. And here's how quick you can get in the game. It's running at 120 frames per second. It's doing this, and show those side by sides. If Microsoft can do that, actually, I think whoever can do that first is going to be in an advantage here, because so far, we haven't seen anyone do that at all.
It's a big miss, and there's a lot of ways. Like we said, load times are easy to show. Ray tracing, if you compare without, is easy to show. Yep. It's not a resolution trick or anything like that. Those two things, which are supposed to be the hallmark of this next generation, no one has yet to do it. So you've heard us, guys. Please do it. You'll make us very happy.
Exactly.
So, Mark, we are one step closer to next generation. We still have more questions to be answered, but this is where it gets fun. So It feels good. It feels like this is an E3 type event. The first one we really felt like that has been E3 equivalent.
Which is funny because Sony said they're skipping E3 and they're kind of the ones to kick off this
absolutely
E3 feeling time of year. So it's an exciting time, and I can't wait for the summer to continue with the summer of games and all these fun announcements.
The summer of Jeff Keighley continues.
Yes.
Oh, well, folks, thank you for joining us. If you have thoughts, there was some folks who did post some things. We didn't get to incorporate them in this show, but we'll talk about them on the next one. Reactions about the event. I believe a couple of people thought there'd be a price, but there was not, obviously. So there you go. But yeah, follow us on Twitter at @TOxtra, @_Canardian, @SecretFriendsU. We have a Facebook group and a page, Secret Friends Unite, and a hotline, 872-225-2496. Leave a message 3 minutes or less to give us your opinion, a review, or a hot take. And if you would like to, if you do either of those, along with an iTunes review with a screenshot, you potentially could win Round Guard on Xbox One. And I have a bunch of other Steam codes as well.
Great game. Yeah. Awesome.
Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thanks, everyone. See you next time.
And remember, it's always better to game together.
Good Jim Daniel exclusive.
I will never be a soccer superstar, but I'm pretty good on my PlayStation. Ladies lose their mind and then they lose their thought when I bust a move on my PlayStation. When I bust a move on my PlayStation. When I bust a move on my PlayStation. Gonna scream from my heart and soul. On my PlayStation.